Importune. Ask urgently.
Although Eddie was not sanguine about his chances, he continued to importune his boss for a winter vacation.
Incontrovertible. Undeniable.
The expert's incontrovertible testimony corroborated the police report.
Surreptitious. Stealthy, accomplished by secret.
With a surreptitious movement, the meticulous bookkeeper emptied the ashtray.
Haven. Place of safety.
In inclement weather, our barn is a haven for many animals.
Subjugate. Conquer.
The dictator used duplicity in order to subjugate his rivals.
To take the bull by the horns. To face a problem directly.
After several days of delay, the minister decided to take the bull by the horns, and so he sent for the Vandals.
A visit to the president. In the winter of 1941, Enrico Fermi and a number of other distinguished scientists importuned President Franklin Roosevelt for authorization to begin an all-out effort in atomic energy research. The scientists were alarmed by incontrovertible evidence of surreptitious German experiments, and they asked for speedy approval. Italian-born Enrico Fermi was the ideal man to lead the atomic research. Already in 1938, he had won the Nobel Prize for work with radioactive elements and neutron bombardment. Fermi had found a haven from the fascists, his wife was Jewish, and he knew that if the Germans were the first to develop an atomic bomb, it would mean that Hitler could subjugate the entire world. The international race for atomic supremacy was on.
Week 13, Day 2. Ultimate. Final.
Gaining better housing for all was the ultimate goal of the zealous reformer.
Eventuate. To result finally.
A thorough investigation eventuated in a comprehensive report.
Emit. To give off.
The mayor issued a diatribe against companies whose smokestacks emit poisonous fumes.
Subterranean. Underground.
After 2 years of confinement in a subterranean dungeon, the prisoner was thin and wan.
Viable. Practicable, workable.
When the schism in the company was healed, a viable arrangement was worked out.
The lion's share. The major portion.
Because the salesman was essential to the business, he demanded the lion's share of the profits.
The ultimate weapon takes shape. Enrico Fermi designed a device that could eventuate in a chain reaction. It consisted of layers of graphite, alternated with chunks of uranium. The uranium emitted neutrons, and the graphite slowed them down. Holes were left for long cadmium safety rods. By withdrawing those control rods, Fermi could speed up the production of neutrons, thus increasing the number of uranium atoms that would be split, fission. When the rods were withdrawn to a critical point, then the neutrons would be produced so fast that the graphite and cadmium could not absorb them. In that manner a chain reaction would result. Slowly, Fermi's first atomic pile began to grow in a subterranean room at Columbia University. The big question remained, was it viable?
Week 13, Day 3. Premise. Grounds for a conclusion.
Acting on the premise that there were no burglars around, the police became quite lax.
Jeopardize. In danger.
The trapeze artist was squeamish about having to jeopardize his life.
Incredulous. Skeptical.
After I had perused the Yankee lineup, I was incredulous about their chances of winning.
Permeate. To spread through.
A terrible odor that was impossible to expunge permeated the skunk handler's clothing.
Propitious. Favorable.
At a propitious moment, the flamboyant movie star made her grand entrance.
Out of the frying pan into the fire. To go from a difficult situation to a worse one.
I thought I had escaped, but actually I went out of the frying pan into the fire.
The squash court experiment. As the pile grew, so did the entire project. Fermi moved his materials to an abandoned squash court, under a football stadium at the University of Chicago. His pace accelerated, because they were proceeding on the premise that the Germans were close to atomic success. 6 weeks after the pile had been started, its critical size was reached. 3 brave young men jeopardized their lives by ascending the pile, ready to cover it with liquid cadmium if anything went wrong. Almost 50 scientists and several incredulous observers mounted a balcony to watch. One physicist remained on the floor. It was his job to extract the final cadmium control rod. Unbearable tension permeated the atmosphere. Fermi completed his calculations, waited for a propitious moment, and then gave the signal.
Week 13, Day 4. Surmise. Guess.
Edna had surmised that she would be charged a nominal sum, and so she was outraged when she got the bill.
Curtail. To cut short.
Publication of the lurid magazine was curtailed by the district attorney.
Repress. To put down.
I had to repress my desire to interject my criticism during the debate.
Cryptic. Puzzling.
Although his remarks appeared cryptic at first, we began to see how really pertinent they were.
Inchoate. In an early stage.
The young couple was disappointed to see the inchoate state of their new house.
To keep the pot boiling. To see that interest doesn't die down.
Dickens kept the pot boiling by ending each chapter on a note of uncertainty and suspense.
The Italian navigator lands. The chain reaction took place precisely as Enrico Fermi had surmised. After 28 minutes, he curtailed the experiment, giving the signal to replace the control rod. The normally reserved scientists, unable to repress their excitement, let out a tremendous cheer, and gathered around Fermi to shake his hand. Although it was time to celebrate, some of the men remarked soberly that the world would never be the same again. On December 2, 1942, the news of Fermi's achievement was relayed in a cryptic telephone message. The Italian navigator has reached the New World. And how did he find the natives? Very friendly. The atomic age was inchoate, but truly here.
Week 14, Day 1.